Hey guys, welcome to grammar video number 2. This time we are working with conjunctions. So by the end of this unit, you should be able to correctly identify the 3 different types of conjunctions: coordinating, subordinating, and conjunctive adverbs. You should also be able to decide which is best, a coordinating conjunction, a subordinating conjunction, or a conjunctive adverb in a sentence. Yes, I have my cheat sheet. You should also be able to use commas correctly with all of the types of conjunctions. And finally, you should be able to identify, correct, and avoid common errors when using conjunctions. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is coordinating conjunctions. So these are conjunctions that connect words, phrases, or clauses, making them equal. Coordinating conjunctions are pretty easy because there are only 7 of them. We call them the fanboys. We have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So if you can remember for and nor, but, or, yet, so make up the fanboys, then you can always identify coordinating conjunctions. Let's talk about comma use with coordinating conjunctions. So we only use a comma before a coordinating conjunction, and we only use a comma with coordinating conjunctions if we're connecting 2 independent clauses. What is an independent clause, you may ask? An independent clause is part of a sentence that could stand alone as its very own sentence. It's its own complete thought. So when we have 2 independent clauses and we join them with a coordinating conjunction, we use a comma before the conjunction. Like this: I went to Publix, but I forgot to buy milk. I went to Publix could be a sentence all by itself. I forgot to buy milk could be a sentence all by itself. If we want to join them together using the word but, we need to put a comma before the conjunction. If I said I went to Publix but I forgot to buy milk and didn't put a comma, it would be incorrect. Now, if we have an independent clause and a dependent clause, which means a clause that cannot be a sentence all on its own, and we're going to join those with a coordinating conjunction, we don't need a comma. I went to Publix but forgot to buy milk. That's correct. No comma there. This is incorrect. I went to Publix, comma, but forgot to buy milk. Forgot to buy milk can't be a sentence all on its own, so it does not need that comma there. I know that you have pretty much spent your whole lives learning to always put a comma before the word but. That is actually not correct. You only need to put a comma there if what follows is an independent clause. Next we have subordinating conjunctions. So these connect 2 clauses, emphasizing one clause and de-emphasizing the other, more or less making one of those clauses more important than the other. So there are lots of subordinating conjunctions, and I'm never ever going to ask you to memorize all of them, but I do want you to be familiar with at least some of the most common ones. So some of the subordinating conjunctions that we see often are because, although, whenever, when, after, before, if, since, and as. So something that I see a lot of in writing is a comma before the word because. This is actually not a thing. You don't need to put commas in front of subordinating conjunctions when they come in the middle of a sentence. I like to listen to music whenever I run. We don't need a comma there. I like to listen to music is an independent clause. I could stop my sentence right there, but I'm going to add this subordinate clause on at the end. Get it? A subordinate clause starts with a subordinating conjunction. So when I add a subordinate clause onto the end of an independent clause, I don't need a comma. However, when I have a subordinate clause at the beginning of a sentence, I do need to put a comma after the whole clause. Whenever I run, comma, I like to listen to music. I do not, however, want to put the comma right after the conjunction. You wouldn't say, whenever I run, I like to listen to music. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So it goes after the whole subordinate clause. Something else I see a lot in writing is that you really like to put commas after conjunctions. So here's the thing. Subordinating conjunctions and coordinating conjunctions should never have a comma directly after them. But, comma, I like music. Don't do it. I went to the store because, comma, we were out of milk. Don't do it. Not a thing. The last kind of conjunction we're going to learn about is the conjunctive adverb. So this isn't like really a conjunction, but it like kind of still is because it still connects two things together. When we have two independent clauses and we want to show things like cause and effect, or sequence of events, or comparisons or contrasts, we can use conjunctive adverbs to relate those two clauses. So we know conjunctive adverbs to be interruptions or introductory words and phrases. So these are things that you already know, you just didn't know that they had a special name. Some really common conjunctive adverbs are therefore, first, next, however, and finally. Now, kind of like subordinating conjunctions, there are lots and lots of conjunctive adverbs. It would never make you memorize them, but the good thing about conjunctive adverbs is they are actually pretty easy to pick out. So there are several different comma rules that come with conjunctive adverbs. The first one is that when we are putting two independent clauses together and we want to join them with a conjunctive adverb, we need to put a semicolon before the conjunctive adverb and a comma after. I like going to school. That is one independent clause. I do not like having to wake up at 5 in the morning. That is another independent clause. I want to show a relationship between these two clauses, and I don't really need to put a period after I like going to school because these two clauses are both very closely related. So if I'm going to do that with a conjunctive adverb, I would say, I like going to school, semicolon. However, comma, I do not like having to wake up at 5 in the morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for conjunctions. Tune in next time for a special lesson on comma rules. See you guys tomorrow. That was ridiculous.